Okay, I promised that I would talk about how all of the Enneagram types block tantric energy. So, on tonight's episode, we are going to talk about how each Enneagram type will know how they're blocking their own tantric energy. So, if you don't know what the Enneagram is, I'm going to put a link in the show notes on how to figure out what your Enneagram type is. But basically, it's this ancient personality typing system. What I love about it is that it's a manual to your mind. Now, we are all unique, and there's like subtypes, and there's a whole complexity and layers to the Enneagram. I like to keep it simple when I'm talking about it because we can get really overcomplicated with it, and we can also like overanalyze it, and we miss the point and the beauty of the tool. It's basically a tool that helps us understand our brains. It really helps us understand our core fears, our core desires. And I like to say it's like this cool user manual that when you read it, you're like, oh crap, am I doing that? Dang it. Or when you're dealing with someone else, you have like a little user manual to the back end of their brain. And you can understand some of their quirks, their blind spots, and things that they might not even be aware of in a really cool and unique way. So that's the quick and dirty on the Enneagram, but let's talk types. So, type one, also known as the perfectionist. They are in the body triad, which means they tend to have some built-in repressed anger. And most of the time, they don't know about it. Normally, it just shows up like judgment. It doesn't show up like explosive anger. So when a type one is blocking their tantric energy, they may be overly rigid and controlling, suppressing their actual true desires, and opening up involves embracing flexibility and spontaneity. So one of the ways that a type one can activate their tantric energy or to like really connect back in with it is to be in their seven, which is playful, more spontaneous, less rigid, pull the inner critic, judge out of their head and give them a holiday. That is like number one. So if you're type one and you've been experiencing any of that, really step into your seven and like play, go play, dance in the rain. I'm saying that because it's raining outside and I just went for a long walk in the rain and it felt so good. Play, just play, smile, laugh, throw away the plan, get in the car, drive. Don't make any plans on your vacation. Literally show up without a single reservation. I know that might be a big leap. I get that. But try it one time. It'll be really cool and magical. Okay. Type two, the helper. Twos block their energy by prioritizing other people's needs over their own, leading to emotional depletion. Learning to receive and balance giving with self-care opens their flow. Twos really need to learn how to express their needs, and that is a big ask. I know I work with a lot of twos because when I say that to them, they look at me with big eyes like, what? Don't understand. Don't people just know what I need? Like I know what they need? The answer is no, they don't. It is a unique gift of the type two, and unfortunately, most other people do not have that gift. So your unique genius is also the thing you crave the most, but other people don't really know how to do it. So gotta learn how to express your needs. When you do that and you're super clear about it, you're gonna feel the free flow of your energy back. So type twos, to open up your energy, figure out what your needs are and how to have them met. And more importantly, allow people to meet them. It's okay. You can allow them to meet the needs that you have. It's actually really good for you. Type three is the achiever. I love me some type threes. They are go-getters and they love goals. Threes may disconnect from their emotions in their pursuit of success. Allowing vulnerability and authentic self-expression helps restore their life force. I love it when I meet threes because they usually come in and they're like, something's wrong with my face. It's like leaking and I don't know how to make it stop. And I'm like, oh, those are tears of vulnerability. Hello, nice to meet you. I was there once too. I'm a seven. We're very similar. And I mean, seriously, it is a beautiful experience to walk a three through stepping into their vulnerability and their vulnerable side because it's like a really foreign language. I love working with threes because they're very easy. They like a goal list. Like, so if you're dating a three or you're married to a three or you are a three, you need a list of like success that people can meet. Like, so okay, let me give it to you like this. If you're married to a three and you want intimacy and connection, and they're like, but I like to work and my like whole entire life is built around work, you have to give them a list of ways to be successful being intimate with you and vulnerable. I know that doesn't sound romantic, but to them it is. And remember, you want to activate their tantric energy. You don't want to like activate their ego. So when you do that, it allows them to step into vulnerability because they know how to be successful at it. Type threes, if you're with someone and they're complaining because you're a workaholic and that you don't know how to be present and be vulnerable, tell them this. Be like, hey, if you want to have like cuddle time on the couch and you want me to watch like a whatever you want on the TV, give me a time frame. Fridays from 7 to 8, we watch romantic comedies. You'll be all there. You'll feel so safe in it because you'll know exactly what to do and how to be present in that hour. It's really important for threes to have time boundaries because it allows you to be more vulnerable. And for anyone that's judging them, don't. This is a beautiful thing. Type threes get some stuff done in the world. They're extremely successful, and learning how to like set them up for success in the bedroom or in your relationship is going to have you're going to have such a better experience with them. And when they really step into their like vulnerable side, they are such an amazing ally, and especially in partnerships, in business, and in love. Um, really allows them to be authentic. And when they get to be authentic, like their tantric energy is flowing, their life force is going to be unstoppable. So this is a great remembrance for threes too. If you're afraid of your vulnerability or you feel like you started leaking and you don't know how to turn off the faucet, that's your higher self coming in saying it's time for you to learn how to feel all of your feelings. Yeah, you can call me because I was there. I'm really good with threes. Type fours, individualists. They're the opposite of that. They have a very deep connection with all of their feelings, especially sadness. Fours can become trapped in emotional intensity, which actually blocks their energy with self-absorption. What does that mean? Sometimes fours are so in their pain and sadness, they can't see out of it. Like it is part of their like energy and their creative flow, but when they can't see outside of it, they lose connection with other people. And connecting to the body and practicing gratitude can help them unblock their creative flow. So instead of looking for more sadness and more pain, connecting in with gratitude actually creates more balance for you, and that activates your flow again. Type fives, head triad. This is the people are all logic. It makes me really angry when I meet type fives and they're like, I was recently diagnosed as Asperger's. I'm like, why did we have to start labeling all type fives as Asperger's? Like, that is just who they are. Like, they are intellectual beings who really enjoy intellect and studying and have an incredible protective stance over their time. And, I'm not dissing people who are like actually legitimately labeled Asperger's, but type fives, if you take your Enneagram and you've been told that, I just want you to go read the entire section on the type five. You might find a little bit more validity than some of the traditional paths. So fives tend to over intellectualize and distance themselves from their emotions, blocking energy in their lower chakras. Engaging in physical practices helps them reconnect with their life force. So type fives tend to, all of the head triad tends to not be in their body a whole bunch. They like to intellectualize and live up here, and they are very disconnected from their bodies. So lower chakra activation. Did I say a sphincter says what? I did. Okay. Sphincter says what? Yeah, that's for you. You need to do some breath work and activate your pelvic floor and the muscles of your anus because sorry, I'm just excited that I get to say this on my podcast now. So when you activate all of those muscles, you're really connecting to the root chakra and connecting back into your life force energy. This is not going to detract from your intellect because once you realize that your intuitive nature is to connect in with source's intellect, you don't have to read as many books because when your intuition comes on, you can just download a whole bunch of cool information and then go find the books that support it. I promise you, it's a really, really fun gift of intuition. I have it. It's super cool. So one of the things that a type 5 could do would be something like Qigong. This is going to help keep the life force in your body and help flow that energy through your body and help you stay connected in your body. Really important. Now, type 6 is the loyalist. Sixes often block their energy through worry and doubt. I'm just going to say, if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, anxiety is the type 6 embodied. Type 6 has a ton of anxiety. They're usually looking up conspiracy theories on the internet and they have planned every possible worst case scenario out so that when it actually arises, they're already prepared for it. They're probably the calmest person in the room because they knew it was going to happen. Type sixes tend to be a lot of hero types and also like law enforcement, military. They're the people who are like, creating plans around theft. And I don't know, because I'm not a type six. But I will say that worry, doubt, and anxiety can take a toll on their intuition because they are running 100% of the time on fear, and fear energy blocks tantric energy. It just blocks it. So we gotta like start letting go of some of the fear and anxiety and stepping into the energy of flow and ease. Because believe it or not, you will be able to detect threats much easier when your intuition is turned on because now you've got your sixth sense activated, able to communicate with you clearly when there's an actual threat. Trust me, that is a true superpower. So, type sevens, the last in the head triad here, block energy by avoiding difficult emotions and seeking constant stimulation. If you've ever had someone who has toxic positivity, it's probably a type 7. I'm pretty sure we are the ones who created like the high vibes movement and lie to everyone about you're not supposed to feel your negative feelings in order to manifest. In fact, type 7s, they're different than all of the other 8 types. We have to learn how to feel all of our negative feelings in order to manifest. Otherwise, our manifester gets burnt out because it's just straight denial. So, type 7s need to ground and process through all of our feelings. Now, the cool thing is once we learn how to process through our feelings, we do it pretty quickly. Like, I don't remember what was going on earlier. I had this like deep wave of sadness wash over me. And I was like, oh, I don't want to deal with this right now. And I'm thinking about like, inside out. And my joy is like, oh, why is sadness here? And I thought, you know what? You do this for like, this is what you do. Sit down and talk to the sadness. What's up? What are you here to teach me? What do you need? And I like really sat with it and allowed it to process. And then I laid in my magic lamp and I did this amazing recode that I had just recorded for our conscious communication seminar. And I felt instantly better. I just had some old sadness that needed to be processed and let go of. And it really didn't take a whole bunch other than me recognizing that it was there and then doing one of the things that I teach to process through it. And then I left and I felt inspired. I felt my creative energy back and I felt fully empowered and actually kind of excited about doing my podcast, which I have been putting off for a couple of weeks. which is also a seven thing. We like constant stimulation. So if you're with someone and like, or if you're a seven and you're constantly distracted, FOMO is like a killer of connection for you. Fear of missing out on something better kills your relationships. I'm not kidding. This is a serious issue for sevens. It also kills your tantric energy because you're not really present with people. You're not connected. You're like kind of like devouring stuff, but never actually being with stuff. It's like what is the word? I was just working on the shadow of gluttony the other day, and it's like that feeling like it's never enough, like planning the vacation and being there, but like thinking about the next one because this one wasn't good enough. That's the curse of the seven. So be present in your body, be present with your feelings, and be present with other people. And presence is the greatest gift that you can learn. To be present with everyone this weekend when we were doing our conscious communication seminar, it felt so good because I could sit with them in their pain or their joy. And I wasn't trying to get to the next session or the next segment. I was just fully present in the experience, which allowed my intuition to just come right through and guide the group exactly where we needed to go. If I was looking at the schedule or thinking about what was next or break time, I would have missed out on the beauty of what we had created. One of my favorite gifts of my spiritual awakening, midlife spiritual bitch slap experience is that I have learned how to feel. I've learned how to feel all of the feels and not just think about them, but feel them, whether they're good or bad. Now, type sevens, this is a big, big task because you think you feel, but most of the time, you're just thinking about feeling. You're not actually embodying the feelings. And this is where embodiment practices are incredibly helpful for you. Ground, clear, focus, create something beautiful. Because sevens, I'm telling you, you are magical spiritual creators. If you can just sit with your pain long enough to get to your intuition, promise you, it's a gift. That's a big statement too, because a couple weeks ago I didn't think it was. Type eights, challengers. Eights can block energy by staying in control and denying all vulnerability. I think the eights, the sevens, and the threes should just have a vulnerability vacation where we go and learn how to like cry and feel and talk about stuff and like, do breath work and eye gazing with each other. I think that's probably coming up because threes, sevens, and eights need vulnerability. And type eights especially need vulnerability because in their vulnerability, their intuition gets incredibly strong and their tantric energy flows. See, eights tend to think that their anger is their tantric energy, where it may kind of ignite it, but their real power, their real tantric manifesting abilities come when they tap into that vulnerability and they allow that vulnerability to lead instead of control and anger. Surrender to softness and emotional openness. It helps you unlock your life force. I know that's a big ask. Don't worry, we're probably going to go on vacation one day and I'll help you all step into this because it is a really powerful place when you allow your softness to come through. Your genius of being able to stand up for what's right when you're in your softness actually becomes amplified by your higher self. And it's like this compassionate force on the world that we need right now. Type nines. This is also in the body triad. Nines block their energy by numbing out or avoiding conflict. I love type nines because they think they meditate and they're like, no, my mind's completely clear. And it's not meditation. They're actually just completely numbed out. Like they just aren't having any thoughts at all. This is a tough place for a nine because you're actually blocking out your life force energy. Nines tend to, I almost say like marinate with whoever they're around. Merge is the word. And they'll literally shift into the perspective of the person that they're with. and agreeing with like everything because they're almost like splitting their energy and they're like merged with the other person and them, and they don't know the difference between them and themselves and the other person. And this blocks out their own power and energy. It's very draining for type nines. Energy for type nines is going to look like engaging with life fully and stepping into your personal power. And that's going to help you tap into your tantric energy. Now, some nines are afraid to tap into it because they have a lot of repressed rage. So, if that might be you, then I would say like working with someone who can help you release that rage so that it like starts flowing more into like a beautiful flow, peaceful energy is going to make a big difference for you. A lot of nines were told that they didn't matter and that their opinions didn't matter, their voice didn't matter. And so they have a really hard time expressing themselves and connecting with who they are because they were really kids who oriented to whoever they were around so that they could feel safe in the world and to avoid conflict at all cost. Because although they're in the anger triad, they have a deep fear of their own anger. It doesn't feel safe to them. But what happens is instead of like experiencing it, releasing it, discussing it, they completely repress and ignore it. And then it looks like numbing out, literally just not being there. And that like numbing out creates so much disconnection for you. I've dated a lot of nines, and one of the loneliest experiences is when a nine shuts you out because you're like all of a sudden you're like there with them, like you're all there and they get you and then they freeze you out and it's like they're not even there. And you feel this cold loneliness just go over your entire being. And it feels almost like the life has been sucked out of your relationship. It is a horrible feeling. And I know the nines, I'm not blaming nines. Like, I'm not saying that this is their fault. I'm just saying that like they do it as a self-preservation way of making sure that they have an idea of who they are. But when they do that and they freeze out the other person, they also lose the ability to have deep connection with people and stay in their own authority over who they are. And when you learn how to be in your body and be present with people and also still be your authentic self, you're going to have your own energy and power fueling your relationships. And your partner is not going to feel like they just stepped into the Northwest freeze. So that's just my personal experience on the other side of the nine. And I would say loneliness is not a feeling I love. And that freeze out is one of the most lonely experiences I've ever had because I think when you're sitting with another human being and they're completely disconnected and shut down, that's more lonely than being completely alone, sitting by yourself on a desert island. Like being with someone who's completely disconnected is way more lonely than being alone. So that is my little journey through the Enneagram and how we close off our tantric energy in each Enneagram type. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you're interested in learning more about the Enneagram, it is something I teach in Soma Tribe and in all of my classes, actually, because I think the Enneagram is probably one of the most helpful personal development tools that's underutilized by most people. Well, I hope you enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.